The Bavarian Illuminati was said to have been founded by Jesuit priest Adam Weishaupt in 1776. The Illuminati's true origins go back thousands of years. This modern organization was based on a much older alliance of occult societies. The following year, Weishaupt was initiated as a Freemason in the city of Munich. He soon realized the potential of the Masonic lodges as recruiting grounds for his own secret society, and started directing members of the order to begin illuminating Masonic lodges throughout Germany and later Europe. The Illuminati soon spread to France, Italy, Sweden, Belgium, Holland, Denmark, Poland, and Hungary. This is when Adam Weishaupt conducted one of the most sinister plans in history. The following were his 7 main objectives: the abolition of all order governments, private property, inheritance, patriotism, the concept of the family, religion, and the creation of a new world order. We have this information because in 1785, according to legend, an Illuminati carrier named Lanza was struck by lightning while traveling by horseback through the town of Ratisbon. He was found to be in possession of documents belonging to Weishaupt that outlined the Illuminati's aspirations for global dominance. The papers detailed the plans for the coming French Revolution. The government of Bavaria attempted to notify the French government of the impending disaster, but they didn't heed the warning. All of the members of the Illuminati that could be found were arrested, but Weishaupt and others escaped and went underground. Former Illuminati member John Robinson, professor of natural history at Edinburgh University in Scotland, published a book entitled Proofs of a Conspiracy Against All the Religions and Governments of Europe, carried on in secret meetings of Freemasons, Illuminati, and reading societies collected by good authorities. In his book, he revealed that Adam Weishaupt had attempted to recruit him and many others in his diabolical games to control the world through the Illuminati. I believe one factor that led to the downfall of Weishaupt's Illuminati was the fact that the existence of the Illuminati was forbidden to be mentioned anywhere by anyone by the ancient occult societies that it consists of. When he used the term Illuminati openly, it eventually led to the general awareness of this much older group of organizations whose very existence depended on secrecy and discretion. In 1800, Thomas Jefferson, in a letter to Reverend James Madison, dismissed the anti-Illuminati conspiracy theories and painted Weishaupt as a utopian idealist. Later that year, Thomas Jefferson was elected as President of the United States. In the 1820s, Baron Amschel Rothschild financed the Bavarian Illuminati and expressed his utter contempt for national governments, which attempted to regulate international bankers such as himself. Allow me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who writes the laws. That's a quote from Baron Rothschild. After Weishaupt's death in 1830, the Illuminati began looking for another central leader that was also a Masonic occultist, just like them. 33rd degree Freemason Giuseppe Mazzini fit the bill. After showing his strength and ability to wrestle away Italy from the Holy Roman Empire and basically hand it over to the Illuminati, he founded a group of revolutionaries called Young Italy in 1831. Their goal was to free Italy from the clutches of monarchy and the Pope. They succeeded, and Mazzini was honored as a patriot in Italy. However, in the process of liberating Italy, the organization known as the Mafia was born. This shows the ties between the Mafia and the Illuminati. Mazzini was chosen by the Illuminati to lead the organization in 1834. During his leadership, he enticed an American occultist and Freemason named Albert Pike into joining the upper echelon of the Illuminati. He readily agreed to join and was made the head of the Illuminati operations in the United States. Mazzini could sense the powerful occult nature of Pike and asked him to write an occult book that guided the transition from an average high-ranking Mason to a top-ranking illuminated Mason of the 33rd degree. Pike then offered what is known as the Bible of Freemasonry, titled Morals and Dogma. This book was used to bring Masonic lodges worldwide under their control. Albert Pike was also a Confederate general and the founder of the Ku Klux Klan. I find it odd that Albert Pike has an honorary statue on federal property in Washington, D.C. Pike was the Grand Master of a Luciferian group known as the Order of Palladium, Sovereign Council of Wisdom, which had been founded in Paris in 1737. Palladism had been brought into the Great Plan by Pythagoras in the 5th century BC, and it was the cult of Satan that was introduced into the inner circles of the Masonic lodges in the 1800s. You can track the history of the Illuminati through the 1800s and the early 1900s through the Library of Congress. Just go to the Library of Congress website and search Illuminati, and you'll find hundreds of old newspapers where you can follow the timeline of their recruitment centers through Masonic lodges and other organizations. In an August 15, 1871 letter to Mazzini, Pike revealed a plan for 3 world wars. 2 of these conflicts and their descriptions have come to pass. There's a dispute as to the legitimacy of the letter and whether or not it was ever displayed at the British Museum Library in London. The letter was copied by William Guy Carr, a former intelligence officer in the Royal Canadian Navy. In Carr's book, Satan, Prince of this World, he provides the following footnote. The keeper of manuscripts recently informed the author that this letter is not catalogued in the British Museum Library. It seems strange that a man of Carl Rodriguez's knowledge would have said that it was in 1925. Carl learned of Pike's letter from Cardinal Carl E. Rodriguez of Santiago, Chile. He wrote The Mystery of Freemasonry Unveiled in 1920, mentioning the 1871 letter from Albert Pike to Mazzini. One thing that's clear is that the outrage surrounding the letter first appeared publicly in 1925. Rodriguez was strongly opposed to the influence of Freemasonry in modern society. Despite the fact that World War I had already occurred, the events of World War II that were yet to unfold were far from the imagination of the public or the press in 1925. Of course, history has shown that World War II, which began 14 years later in 1939, occurred exactly as described in Pike's letter. Clearly, efforts were made by the order to remove the document from the British Museum Library by calling the letter a forgery. Obviously, the 3 world wars had been planned for many generations. The plan for the 3rd World War reveals even more ominous insight into the current war on terror. In Pike's 1871 letter, he wrote, "The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the Tsars in Russia and of making the country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the adjuncture of the Illuminati between the British and the Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used to destroy the other governments in order to weaken the religions. Students of history will recognize that the political alliances of England on one side and Germany on the other forged between 1871 and 1898 by Otto von Bismarck, who is Albert Pike's co-conspirator. They were both instrumental in bringing about the First World War, which really had no reason to happen other than creating this order, moving forward into the New Age. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed, and that the political Zionism can be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time we would need it for the final social cataclysm. After the Second World War, communism was to be made weak enough to be taken over by other governments. In 1945, at a conference between President Truman, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin, a large portion of Europe was simply handed over to Russia. On the other side of the world, in the aftermath of the war with Japan, they allowed communism to sweep into China. How does this happen, you might ask? The answer is simple. Truman, Churchill, and Stalin were all Freemasons. Before Truman, we had Franklin D. Roosevelt, another Freemason working for the order. Those that believe Nazism and Zionism were not known until 1871 because none of that appears in history books or was taught in school, will find with a little research that the Illuminati created both of these movements. Pike wrote of the Third World War. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the adjuncture of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its honor will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compassion or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through which the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer will finally be brought out into the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. These are only a few of Albert Pike's alarming quotes. No one has the right to force beliefs of any kind on another person. It's my opinion that our right to freedom of thought, speech, and religion come from our own divine source. No one has the authority to force us to believe anything. However, we as a society are slowly accepting a Luciferian doctrine as it's being sold to us throughout the products that we buy, to the movies that we watch, the lies we're being subjected to by the mass media and our so-called politicians. Is it all starting to make sense? This only scratches the surface. People need to pass this on. This is important information. These subjects are so suppressed that so few people believe this stuff. Even if they know of it, they don't believe it. Society needs to know the truth on a massive scale. Thank you for watching. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Also, if you find this video valuable, I hope you'll share it with your friends. And subscribe to my channel to get notifications when I make future uploads. Together, we are the 99%. Peace.